Okay, welcome to Math 1, Spring Standard 2, writing the equation of a line given 2 points. Let's review the steps first. When you have 2 points, first you need to find the slope, then you need to use the slope and one of the points to find the y-intercept. Lastly, you need to take your slope from step 1 and your y-intercept from step 2 and write your equation in slope-intercept form. So, given the points 0, -5, and -5, -1, write the equation of the line. Let's start with step 1, find the slope. To find the slope, we want to find the change in y over the change in x. I recommend you label your coordinates, so x1 and y1 for this first coordinate, x2 and y2 for the second coordinate, and then use this formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, to set up your slope calculation. Now that I've written down my formula and labeled my points, I can just fill my specific values into the slope formula and calculate my slope. So let's do that. y2 is -1. y1 is -5. Notice that the formula has a minus, so that's this minus sign. And then y1 is negative, so that's this negative sign. It's important that when you're subtracting a negative number, you write it out as minus negative first, because you don't want to accidentally drop any negative signs. Then, in our denominator, x2 is -5 minus x1, which is 0. And now I follow order of operations to simplify until I get a slope. -1 minus -5 becomes -1 plus 5, which is 4. And then -5 minus 0 just stays -5. So I end up with a slope of -4 over 5. Note that even though my -5 originally came from the denominator, since there's only going to be one negative sign in my final fraction, the whole thing is negative, and so I just associate the negative with the fraction rather than with the numerator or denominator. Okay, so we've completed step 1. We found our slope, and it is -4/5. Now we move to step 2. Find the y-intercept using slope and one point. We'll start by writing y equals mx plus b. I highly recommend you start here to help you remember what you're filling in. The point I'm going to use is -5, -1. I'm just choosing to use that. I could use 0, -5. It doesn't matter. I should get the exact same b value. The slope is going to be -4/5. We found that at step 1. So I'm going to replace my y value with -1. I'm going to replace my m with -4/5. And I'll replace my x with -5 in parentheses to help me remember that I'm multiplying these things. Plus b stays as plus b. We don't know what b is yet, so it's not a number, it's what we're solving for. Now I follow my order of operations to isolate b. -4/5 times -5 is +4. To isolate b, I need to subtract 4 from both sides of my equal sign, and I get -5 equals b. So our y-intercept is -5. Now, in this particular set of points, we could have already known that because this coordinate says 0, -5. When the x value is 0, that's our y-intercept. But now we've confirmed that algebraically using our other point. Awesome. Last but not least, step 3, write equation in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Your equation must still include y and x. Those need to stay the variables y and x. M we're going to replace with the slope we found in step 1. In this case, that's -4/5. B we replace with the y-intercept we found in step 2, in this case, -5. Note, I don't say plus -5 here. I change this to -5. So there we have it. We've written our equation in slope-intercept form. First, we found the slope by finding the change in y over the change in x. Then we used that slope and one of the points in our slope-intercept form to isolate b and find our y-intercept. Last, we wrote our equation in slope-intercept form by replacing the m with our slope from step 1 and the b with our y-intercept from step 2.